ॐ ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे परम्परा वन्दे गुरुपरम्परा। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अथ त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञविभागयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अनादित्वात् निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मायमव्ययः शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्यात् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते यथा प्रकाशयत्येकः कृत्स्नं लोकमिमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्नं प्रकाशयति भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्। ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञविभागयोगो नाम त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः। अथ चतुर्दशोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच परं भूयः प्रवक्ष्यामि ज्ञानानां ज्ञानमुत्तमं यज्ञात्वा मुनयः सर्वे परां सिद्धिमितो गताः। ॐ तत्सत्। Jai Gurudev. So, where did we stop yesterday?
Yesterday we completed 33, but we had a lot of.
The last one we didn't read it yet, right?
No, 34 we didn't do. We completed
Yeah.
33, but we had some confusions in that.
So, do you want to do a repeat of some of the verses that we did, or do you want to go on to 34?
Yeah, I think we should do a little bit, no? 31, 32, 33, 34 we can do.
Okay,
34
so
is quite long.
from 31 you would like?
34 is not that long, I think. It's a short one.
The explanation is quite a few pages.
Okay, so
Really?
should we start from 31?
I think so. I don't know about the others.
Yeah.
No, if
We missed
33
you
was causing a problem, we could do 33 and 34.
we missed you, Brahmaraji, yesterday because you give
Yeah.
very clear explanations.
Um, so should we do 31? Start from 31 and go forward? I know Dr. Mara said 33 onwards, but if we require, any one of us requires from 31, I think we'll start from 31. It's good
I
to
think
do a
31
repeat.
would be better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll start with 31.
31 we can start.
Yeah. Let me know how you are placed, Sumaji. Otherwise, I will continue.
I'm okay today. I'm free.
You're free today, right? So I will read the Sanskrit verse. Maybe you can share, and then I'll continue till you're able to share, and then you can take on.
Which pay? Okay.
This is page number
Okay.
536.
All right.
Anaditvat nirgunatvat paramatmayamavyayah sharirasthopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. O Kaunteya, being beginningless and without attributes, this limitless self is imperishable. Even though obtaining in the body, it does not perform action and is not affected by results of actions. Atma has no beginning. A physical body is born, it has a beginning, whereas Atma is without a beginning, Anadi, and therefore does not have the problems inherent in something that begins. Anything that has a beginning declines and is destroyed, because if it has a beginning, it is subject to time. What it was the previous moment is entirely different from what it is now. So, for anything subject to time, destruction is inevitable. Atma, however, is free from time, or Anadi can mean it has no cause, since it is the cause of the entire creation. What is there in the beginning is the cause with reference to any creation. Before the creation of the pot, there was clay, and thus clay is its cause. Similarly, before the creation was this Atma, and thus it is the cause that itself has no cause. That means it is not an effect and therefore is not born. It has no attributes. Then again, this limitless Chaitanya Atma has no attributes. Nirguna. If it has any quality, then by contact it can become different. Milk, for example, has its own attributes, and if you pour some water into it, which also has its own attributes, the milk becomes thin. Any object which has an attribute will change due to the attributes of another object which is in conjunction with it. For that to happen, it must be a substance enjoying its own attributes. Then, because of association, it will gather the attributes of the object with which it is associated. But first, that nucleus, which is a substance with qualities, is required. Now, Atma is entirely without attributes. Consciousness is not an attribute, and neither is eternality. If consciousness were an attribute, there should be another substance in which consciousness is based. Is that substance consciousness or non consciousness? If it is non consciousness, consciousness cannot be its attribute. Moreover, anything you think of becomes an object of consciousness, and therefore there cannot be a substantive for which consciousness is an attribute. Nor is consciousness a substantive because it is an attribute free vastu. Everything else is an object and therefore has attributes. Even Maya has the attributes of the three gunas and therefore is subject to change. Atma Chaitanya, on the other hand, has no attributes. Maya is also witnessed, Sakshya, while Atma is the witness, Sakshi. Even space cannot take on any attributes, how can consciousness, the very basis of space, assume attributes? Even though the mind is not separate from it, the problems of the mind cannot be transferred to the Atma, nor can those of the body, the senses, or the world with its varieties of problems. There is no nucleus to attract them. Thus, Atma does not undergo any change. It is avyaya. If it were a substance with qualities, then those qualities could change. A body, for example, which was once young, is now old because, having attributes, it changes. Atma, having no attributes, does not change and can therefore never be destroyed. Therefore, even though present in the body, it does no action. It is not touched by anything. This being so, even though it obtains in the body, Atma does not perform action. Sharirasthopi na karoti. When everything is Atma, why is it said that Atma is obtaining in the body? Sharirastaha. That is because the body is the place where Atma can be recognized, the Upalabdhi sthana. Generally, when action is performed by the body, we think Atma is engaged in action. This is an error, as we have seen. Atma is akarta and has no action whatsoever centered on it, though in its presence all activities take place. Thus, even though it obtains in the body, it performs no action. When it performs no action, it will not be affected by the result of action. Na lipyate. It remains illumining the results of all actions. As a desire arises, Atma illumines the desire while having no desire itself, and it illumines the actions taken to fulfill the desire, all performed by the Upadhi with the various instruments at its disposal. When the result comes, whether it is as expected or not, Atma will just illumine it, not being affected at all. Shankara makes a statement here that the one who does an action is the one who is affected by its result. If you think you are a karta, you are accountable for your actions and will have punya, papa, sukha, dukkha, the entire samsara. In other words, the doer is the enjoyer. In other words, as you sow, so shall you reap. Now, when Atma performs no action, the next question is, who does this karma? Is there another Atma that performs action while this one does not? If that is so, we have two Atmas and therefore duality. Then the problem is sentences like, know me as the kshetrajna in all kshetras, kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu. That is from the second verse, chapter 13. One alone, non-dual, ekame, ekamevadvitiyam. All this is the self. Idam sarvam yad ayam atma. All this is indeed Brahman. Sarvam khalvidam Brahma will have no meaning. Not only that, how are you going to establish a second Atma? If there is a seeing Atma and a Karta Atma, in which one will you place I? Is the Karta known to you or not? If it is not known, how can you call yourself Karta? If you are aware of the Karta, how can you say the Karta is you? There is only one Atma, and that I cannot be placed elsewhere except in consciousness. The experience is I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, and Shastra confirms that the one who does is the one who enjoys the fruits of action. Now, Atma does not perform any action, but somebody is doing it. Bhagavan himself said it is the nature of Prakriti to engage itself in action. Svabhavastu pravartate. Prakriti, blessed by Atma, enjoys the consciousness that is reflected in the buddhi, and because of that, assumes the form of a desirer and then a karta. Therefore, clearly doership belongs to the antahkarna. When a person says, I do, it is due to avidya, ignorance, and that doership as well as the enjoyership is only for the ignorant person, not for the Atma. If Atma is understood as Akarta, he understands that he
Excuse
performs.
me. Yesterday we
Yes,
had a question here only that that when we say we do, excuse me, the Antakarna is doing this thing, right? So then the explanation came like the Prakriti is the one doing it. Like the question I had was, they say like whatever we do, that when we say we cannot, we say it his doing, like is the God's doing, like that's how we say some, some of the things at least. Then how that Atma doesn't perform any action, so it's not Brahman. Then how were we when we say that, what it implies, like that was my question yesterday. So I think Sumaji was saying like Prakriti, that's the one with three gunas and doing it. So that was one question.
yeah, I think, see, that is there, that is colloquial, that we say, okay, it's all his doing. That is again to relieve ourselves from the doership. See, the whole Shastra is telling us what? You are not the doer, you are not the enjoyer. In order to bring us to that state, this saying it's all his doing will help us kind of relieve ourselves from the ahankara. Otherwise, you are stuck with that identification. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, isn't it? So I think that is one way of delinking ourselves. It does not mean Atma does. When we say he does it, it is you're relieving yourself, that I, from the doer. You're connecting it to the Prakriti. There, when you say he is doing it, it is not Atma that is doing. I don't think that is the implication there. Atma, as the Shastra tells us, is akarta abhokta. He is only the Sakshi, right?
Right. That's
So,
what I'm.
so,
We
so
clearly know that Atma is Akarta, Bhavta, and
akarta,
all
of
that.
course,
Yeah. So,
Atma
but
is
mm,
clearly
yeah,
akarta abhokta. So, in order to see, we come from the standpoint of avidya. We are the ignorant person, the ajnani. Ajnani thinks what? I am the doer, I am the uh, enjoyer. But after having been exposed to the Shastra, there is an understanding. Array, there, I am Tattvamasi. You are that, is what Shastra is telling us. So I am the Atma. When that is the case, but there is still some action happening through me. There is some results that I'm enjoying. I'm suffering, I'm enjoying, I'm happy sometimes, I'm sad sometimes. What is all this happening? So in order to relieve ourselves from that, we say he is doing it. It's all his doing. So that his there, from this last para that we understand, is the Prakriti. It is the Prakriti that is doing it. See, Prakriti,
yeah.
blessed by Atma, enjoys the consciousness that is reflected in the Buddhi, and because of that assumes the form of a desirer, and therefore then a karta
Mm. The Prakriti is what's doing it.
is doing everything.
Mm. That's the time we also had another question of the manifest form of Prakriti and the unmanifest form. So, so I was thinking about unmanifest form means that only thing is Brahman, right? I mean, is there anything else in Prakriti?
Yeah, I suppose the unmanifest form of Prakriti will be the same as Atma,
Or is
isn't
it
it?
Maya? That is where we said that that's when after that only the Panchikarnam and all comes, no? So
Correct.
it is, so the unmanifest form of Prakriti, I understand is Maya. And from there, from the tamasic aspect came the Maya has Triguna. So from the tamasic aspect came the all the Panchikarnam and all the Prakriti and all the manifestations. This is was my understanding.
But
So
Maya is but Maya
Maya
is
is,
the one build the all the things that is created, right? Like that
yes,
becomes
yes,
that's visible. So
yes,
it's manifest form of the things, and we call it as mithya, right? That it's not real. What is
yeah,
real is the unmanifest form that you don't see it.
yeah.
I mean,
Now even
that's
this
my
Maya
understanding. So
is
that was,
Maya is
mm,
Bhagwan's power. That also we learned, no? So it is Atma's power is Maya. So though Atma is not the doer, it is Atma's the Maya which is dependent on Atma creates all this Prakriti manifestation and does it all this. This was my linear understanding. So that's what we thought that we need some clarification on this.
Yeah, see, Atma with the in conjunction with Maya is called Ishvara, the creator. And the creator has what? Has three qualities, not qualities, I shouldn't say qualities, has three aspects, that is creating, dissolving, and sustaining. So when you talk of Ishvara in the Maya in the unmanifest form, is nothing but uh, mm, nothing but Atma. it's with the attribute of Maya, he assumes the aspect of being a creator, destroyer, dissolver, right? So if you're talking of the unmanifest part of Maya, um, it would be the same as Atma. It's
Maya
only a
itself
difference
is
that
unmanifest, isn't it? Maya
Maya,
itself is unmanifest. Maya's manifest is the Prakriti. Maya manifests the Mithya world. And that's when all the Tattva Bodha came in. Or am I confused?
yeah.
Because Maya is Bhagavan's energy. Bhagavan says, I am created all this through my Maya, through my power, Maya.
See, yeah,
So,
the definition of Maya is Ya Ma Sa Maya, isn't it? That which is not, but that appears as though it is Maya.
hmm,
So, in effect, actually, there is nothing. There is only one. There is only that Advitiya Brahma. Everything else, whether what name we call it, whether it's unmanifest, manifest, is all only an illusion. So, therefore, I think if we stick with that truth, the cause of all the causes, like how clay is the cause of the pot, the cause of all the causes is Atma.
yeah, agreed.
And from
That
there,
is clear.
everything else comes.
Yes.
So I don't know whether uh, I don't know about drawing a distinction between that unmanifest form of Maya and Atma there. So maybe as we read further, we'll understand it better. Hmm?
See, I think whatever comes under Maya is nothing to do with Atma, isn't it?
Maya is because of Atma. Maya has no
Huh.
Correct.
independent
So
existence.
unmanifest or manifest, Maya is not Atma.
See,
Agreed.
Atma runs in and through this creation, isn't it? Maya has no independent existence from Atma. It is like the shadow and the person. Without the person, there is no shadow. The person can exist without the shadow, but the shadow does not exist without the person. It's like the rope and the snake. The snake does it have an independent existence without the rope? In that example, that Rajju Sarpa Bhranti, it is because of the rope that you superimpose, because of avidya, you superimpose the snake on the rope. Similarly, you we can't say Maya is uh, is different from Atma. No, it is different from Atma in the sense it is an illusion, yes, but Atma is in and through the whole of creation, which is what we're saying. Sarva bhutastam atmanam, sarva bhutani chatmani.
Yeah.
The
So
whole of Vibhuti
one
Yoga is about that, isn't it? You're seeing the entire creation is nothing but pervaded by Atma
that's right.
in the
So
form of Vibhuti.
Maybe we can put it this way: truth and untruth. So
yeah, that's a real
Atma
or
alone
not
is the
real.
truth,
That's what that.
and yeah, my whatever
Yeah.
comes under Maya is untruth or the illusion,
Whatever comes under
Yeah.
Maya is Mithya. Mithya
mithya.
is
Mithya
not
is
really
not
untrue.
real.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah, you can't say it not real, not truth. Because remember, we did that rabbit's horns. A rabbit
not
does not
true
have
meaning.
horns. Hmm.
So whatever that it's an illusion meaning. So you call it as Atma and Anatma, right? So two things.
Yeah.
So that is where that, we said real, not real, that type of thing. But one of the thing, the what was that Muni name? I don't remember right now. So he asked Bhagavan, to
Agastya.
show me the Maya. Everybody asked for moksha,
Markandeya.
but
That was Markandeya, I think, right?
Markandeya,
Mm.
right? He asked for show me the Maya. So then the whole this nature, that his that flood coming and getting into ocean, and he's floating in, and then breathe through his nose. Then he found that that's what the Maya is. So to me, I felt when it's Maya, whatever it's created, that we are able to see it. So that um sorry, so that is
Gardama Muni asked.
so that's why I felt it that way. But also, when we go back and read that Tattva Bodh, I'm sure I have to read it again. Uh, you mentioned one slokam, right? Brahmashraya Maya. Is that? Um,
Sattva, yeah, Brahmashraya Maya,
uh,
Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunatmika Maya Asti. And then from that, then the Satvikamshat, all those that emanate from the
Correct, correct.
Satvikamshat. Then the
Yeah.
Rajasamshat, there are, from the Satvikamshat, you have all uh,
right.
the
Gross bodies.
Panchamahabhutas, they form. Sattva
No,
Rajas
the
Tamo
that not
Gunatmika
grass body.
Maya Asti.
The action of sense organs and jnanendriyas. Then it comes the karmendriyas from rajasic aspect, and then tamasic aspect is the gross body. So
Gross
Yeah.
body.
yeah, so the one of the things I'm trying to not sidetrack here, but um, something I wanted to mention, I forgot. Anyway, it will come to me. Sorry, that's what I wanted well, yeah, there is one sentence. It says, when Maya, this endowed with this wielding power, then it's called Ishvara. So that
Correct.
power comes from the Ishvara. So that's Maya. So again, there isn't. Then the Maya created all these other things that comes out. Anyway, that's
So that's what I was also saying, that Maya is the unmanifest mm, energy and Prakriti is the manifest. That's where I got confused yesterday. Or am I right in thinking like that? Because Maya, also somewhere we read, no, Maya is also not a manifest thing. It's the unseen energy of Bhagavan. And with that Maya and the trigunas of Maya, all these changes happened, and slowly, 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 ultimately the gross body came.
Yeah. Maybe
Hmm.
it's the,
But
in
there are
some
subtler
places,
bodies also,
Maya,
no? Like
huh?
even if you take the space where we can see it, it's not gross. There are subtler things also in Maya or Prakriti, isn't it? Which we cannot see, which we don't objectify. Those
Yeah,
subtler
that is
things
all
are also there.
those that come from the Sattva and the Rajas aspect. You cannot see. It is only those that from coming from the Tamas aspect, you can see the gross body, the whole gross, whatever your visible Jagat.
Yeah.
That is there. But somewhere, Prakriti is synonymous with Maya. So I'm not sure whether we can draw a distinction between Maya and Prakriti. I think maybe we are getting a little lost in the terms over here. But let's understand that there is Atma, and the from the Atma itself, like we go back to Tattva Bodh, Brahmashraya Maya and Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunatmika Maya Asti, and from there Pancha Mahabhutas develop, they arise. From there, again, based on which aspect of Maya, whether it is a sattvic aspect, rajasic aspect, or tamasic aspect, then the whole creation develops. So, Maya, Prakriti, blessed by Atma, enjoys the consciousness that is reflected in the buddhi, and because of that assumes the form of a desirer and then a karta. Therefore, clearly, doership belongs to the antahkarana. When a person says, I do, it is due to avidya, ignorance. And that doership, as well as the enjoyership, is only for the ignorant person, not for the Atma. We'll park that question regarding whether that unmanifest aspect of Maya is, of Prakriti is Maya, or is it something, or is it Atma? We'll just park that question for now. If Atma is understood as Akarta, he understands that he performs no action, but the sense organs, mind, organs of action all do their jobs. If he is ignorant, they and their activities are superimposed upon the Atma, and he will think that he performs action and is affected by the result. In reality, there is only one Paramatma in which there is no action. Those who understand this vision and have commitment in it do not have notions of the Atma being a doer and enjoyer, and therefore have no qualification for action. Even though the Veda enjoins karma, it is only for the person who has ignorance, not for the one who knows Atma is akarta. Even if he performs action, he knows he does not perform any action. Doing, he does not do. Seeing, he does not see. Hearing, he does not hear. Kurvannapi na karoti. Pashyan na pashyati. Shrinvan na shrunoti. The results of such actions definitely do not affect the person who recognizes the truth that Atma is akarta. The next verse illustrates how Yeah. Jai Gurudev Bela. Yes, we actually revisited that both once when we were doing the previous verses in chapter 13. If required, we'll go back there one more time. Let's after we finish chapter 13. यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्यात् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते. Yatha, just as, Sarvagatam, all pervasive, Akasham, space, Saukshmyat, being subtle, na upalipyate, is not affected, Tatha Atma, so too the self, Sarvatra, in all states, Avastitaha, abiding, Dehe, in the body, na upalipyate, is not affected. Yatha sarvagatam akasham saukshmyat na upalipyate tatha atma sarvatra avastitah dehe na upalipyate. Just as all pervasive space, because it is subtle, is not affected, so too the self, abiding in all states in the body, is not affected. Like space, Atma is untouched. Space being subtle, meaning it has no form, is not affected by anything that happens in it. You can erect walls, even throw debris, but space remains unstained. It has no limbs or attributes and therefore is not affected by anything that takes place within it. Having no form, it is also all pervasive. Similarly, Atma obtaining in the body in all states is not affected. Whether the mind is pleased or displeased, has a longing or aversion, is angry or frustrated, the one who obtains in all these states, though never away from them, remains unaffected. There is no necessity for the mind to be quiet or for thoughts to be dismissed, for Atma to reveal itself. It obtains in all states and at the same time is not affected at all. You may have any thought, it makes no difference to Atma. Therefore, no matter what the Upadhi is undergoing, I am not affected. To illustrate how one Atma can illumine all the kshetras, Bhagwan gives the following verse. So this is very profound, isn't it? So just like how space is without attributes and you can do anything in space, similarly, the Atma obtaining in the body in all states is not affected. Whether the mind is pleased or displeased, I'm just repeating this paragraph, has a longing or aversion, is angry or frustrated, the one who obtains in all these states, though never away from them, remains unaffected. There is no necessity for the mind to be quiet or for thoughts to be dismissed, for Atma to reveal itself. It obtains in all states and at the same time is not affected at all. You may have any thought, it makes no difference to Atma. Therefore, no matter what the Upadhi is undergoing, I am not affected. To illustrate how one Atma can illumine all the kshetras, Bhagavan gives the following verse. I'm just reminded of what we do during the advanced course, those of us who've done the advanced course, is one of the last meditations that we do, the I am meditation. Um, Happy or sad, I am. Angry or otherwise, I am. And that is that I am. That aspect of that I am is that you are is what the Atma is. Everything else is happening in that substratum of the Atma. So no matter what the Upadhi is undergoing, I am not affected. It is like that crystal. No matter what color, whatever flower leaf is in front of that crystal, the crystal remains the crystal. Only thing is that reflection of whatever is in front of it changes, and that as though changes the crystal into a red crystal, or blue crystal, or pink crystal, whatever. But the crystal remains unaffected. So, to illustrate how one Atma can illumine all the kshetras, Bhagwan gives the following verse. Yatha prakashayatyekah kritsnam lokamimam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha kritsnam prakashayati bharata. Bharata, O Arjuna, yatha, just as, ekah ravihi, one sun, imam kritsnam lokam, this entire world, prakashayati, illumines, tatha, so too, kshetri, the one who obtains in the kshetra, kritsnam, kshetram, the entire kshetra, prakashayati, illumines. Bharata, yatha ekah ravihi, imam kritsnam lokam prakashayati, तथा क्षेत्री कृत्स्नम क्षेत्रम prakashayati. O Arjuna, just as one sun illumines this entire world, so too the kshetri, Atma, one who obtains in the kshetra, illumines the entire kshetra. Like the sun, Atma illumines the entire kshetra. One sun alone illumines the entire system. Similarly, the kshetri, the one who obtains in the kshetra, illumines the entire kshetra. Kshetri is Atma, the one for whom the body is a kshetra. This Pratyagatma is Paramatma, illumining the entire kshetra, which includes the mind, senses, body, and this entire world. There is only one Atma illumining all this. Anything that you consider to be a second Atma is only the kshetra. When you count another person, what is it that you are really counting? It is only the body, not Atma. Atma illumines not only this body, but that body also. Then again, if you are aware of your mind, that is kshetra. And if you are aware of someone else's mind, that is also kshetra. In no instance do you objectify another consciousness because it cannot be objectified, inasmuch as anything objectified is an object of consciousness. While the conscious is the one who is the who objectifies, while the conscious is the who objectifies and is always the subject. If you try to establish a difference between yourself and some person, the division between that body and your body is arrived at by space, and that space itself is objectified by both of you. Let me repeat this. If you try to establish a difference between yourself and some person, the division between that body and your body is arrived at by space. And that space itself is objectified by both of you. More accurately, in consciousness is the objectification of space. Spatially, there cannot be a division for consciousness because when space itself is an object of consciousness, how can it divide consciousness? All spatial divisions must exist within space, and consciousness is not within space, but
Read the previous line, please, again.
yeah. So, if you try to establish a difference between yourself and some person, the division between that body and your body is arrived at by space, isn't it? Because there is a space between you and that body, and both are in space. You're able to see that distinction, that division. But here, that space itself is objectified by both of you. Each of us, supposing me and say Dr. Mara, or me and Sumaji, or me and anybody else, we both are able to objectify space. More accurately, in consciousness is the objectification of space. Spatially, there cannot be a division for consciousness because when space itself is an object of consciousness, how can it divide consciousness? So, all this is to make us understand that there is only one Atma that is obtaining in all the bodies, in all of creation. There are no two Atmas, no my Atma, no your Atma. Because the consciousness, it within the consciousness is space. And because of that space, we are able to see things differently. It is in space that there is this division created. So space cannot divide consciousness. Consciousness is the basis for space. So how can space divide consciousness? All spatial divisions must exist within space. And consciousness is not within space, but is the very basis for space. Like we see a pot and you see your body, you see an apple and you see yourself. So all this is happening where it is happening in space. But I am also able to objectify space. So therefore, I am something beyond space. And that I is consciousness. That is the very basis for space. Should I move on, or do you want a repeat of this?
No, continue.
There is only one consciousness. The mind is also within time space. There is no mind without a thought, and there is no thought that does not have consciousness as its content. Then all the elements are also from the same Chaitanya Atma alone and are objectified by Chaitanya. Also, there is no second consciousness. There is no pramana for it, and Shastra also makes it very clear that there is only one consciousness, Ekam Chaitanyam. If you have any doubt, just close your eyes and see how many consciousnesses are there. Anything you think of is going to be an object of Chaitanya. Therefore, all that is there is one consciousness. Just as the sun illumines the entire world that is seen by you right now, so too, the one who indwells the kshetra illumines the entire kshetra. All the subtle and gross elements, everything that is known and unknown. As there is only one self-luminous sun, there is only one self-effulgent Atma. Then again, it is unaffected by whatever it illumines. If it illumines the Gita, the sun does not become more exalted. But if it illumines Playboy, it does not shrink. Similarly, Atma is not in any way affected by what it happens to illumine. Since it is not subject to objectification, nothing in this creation can affect the Atma. In order for something to be affected, it has to be objectified by something else. And Atma is the one that illumines everything and which nothing else can illumine. Nothing can touch it. This last verse sums up the entire vision that was unfolded by this chapter. Does anyone want to repeat the previous paragraph? So they're likening, the simile is here describing Atma and saying it is similar to the sun. The sun illumines everything. Whether we are reading the Gita or we are watching a movie, the sun illumines that. Similarly, consciousness. He says, Swamiji says what? If you have any doubt that there is only one Chaitanya, just close your eyes and see how many consciousnesses are there. Anything you think of is going to be an object of Chaitanya, which points to saying there is only one Chaitanya. Anything you think of is only an object. Anything you think of cannot be consciousness. It is only an object in consciousness. Therefore, all that is there is only one consciousness. It's just that one I, that big I.
Gurudev gives very nice example. Suppose there are many pots, and all pots have different space, isn't it? All, but when you break the pot, the space is the same. But we uh, perceive it. This space is different. This space, like that. In a person, we see the different consciousness, but the consciousness is only one.
Very right. Very beautiful. So the space here is given as an example, but
Yeah.
consciousness is something which is beyond space, which is in which
Because
space
the
is
conscious
contained.
space is in the consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is not only that it is everything is contained in it, it is unaffected by anything that happens.
Yeah.
That
This Tattva explains like how subtle it is,
Mm,
pervasive, all the things, right? So
yeah,
the more subtler it is, it is. So the space is considered as one akasha or space that is considered as subtler than other elements. So that may
correct.
be pretty close to what
That is why space is the closest to Atma
contain Atma. Yeah,
for
it
us to understand.
contains everything. Yeah.
And space, from space comes Shabda.
Yeah.
Shabda, sound comes from space. Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
Om is the one that is closest to Atma, the one that
Sapta Pramana.
most
Mm-hmm.
closely represents Atma.
Right. Thanks.
And and that is why we need also the Shabda Pramana. The
Mm-hmm.
Shabda Pramana is what makes us uh, closest, and that is the link between avidya and jnana, if you can call it that way.
So
And in
here
fact,
also we had a doubt yesterday
ah,
about when we go very deep in
I know
meditation, do
I
we
read
go?
your question. Hmm.
Yeah.
I was not able to get this question out to Anana and get his answer, but from what little I understand, when we are in that deep space, even Gurudev mentions that in one of the, I think in the World Culture Festival, that meditation, the wisdom series, he mentioned that when you're in that space, you're only in that causal body. You're still covered by ajnana. That is why you're able to come out of it. See, we learned in the Gita, the Shastra tells us that once you attain this knowledge, there is no returning back. Yam
Hmm.
labdva chaparam labham. Yam gatva nanivartante. Once you reach that, there is no point of returning back to this. So whatever
Correct.
experience we've been having in deep meditation is great, it's wonderful, no doubt. We're only touching that causal body aspect. We're in that subtle space, like in deep sleep. In deep sleep, you're unaware, as in you're not alert, you're sleeping. That little awareness is there, therefore you're getting up and saying, oh, I had a deep sleep. But in deep meditation, there is that deep sleep with alertness. That is all the difference, I suppose. It is not equal to touching the Atma. It gives us an illusion of being in that space, but it is not like realizing Atma. It is not like recognizing Atma. But yes,
It is
what
like seeing the
Sahaj,
reflection of the sun in the water.
mm, yeah, it is like it's just touching that, like how in Sahaj we say, it just touches that level of that high of the higher consciousness state. Just for a brief moment, we just touch it. That is why we feel rejuvenated. But then that layer of avidya is still there. And for that to go, what is required is nididhyasana. For that to go, Shastra Pramana is important. That knowledge is important. And
Gurudev says, no, in after Sudarshan Kriya, you get the glimpse of it
mm,
for a second.
yeah,
He also says then in peak of emotional experience, you do get in touch with that inner core of your being. So that inner core is the superconscious state.
mm,
It is not Atma, isn't it?
Only glimpse.
I like this explanation of seeing the reflected sun. That sounds, that kind of settles the mind.
Mhm.
This we have read in one of the chapters. I don't remember it, but we have done. I mean, we read in this text only.
It is like that Nirguna this Nirvikalpa Samadhi, right? I think in chapter 6, where uh, Swamiji Bhagwan talks of dhyana, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is that state where you're in such a blissed out state. But supposing there's a knock on the door, or the telephone rings, you come out of it. You're not in that state forever. So I'm not sure whether I know the question was whether you touch Atma and come back. I think Atma is, actually, it is very simple. That's what Gurudev also said once, He says, the thing is, it is so easy. It is available every time. It is not some place that you have to go and reach. It is you. It is there. Only that you're only the only thing is that you're not aware of, you're ignorant of it.
And then because Atma says asangoham, no, so it's
Mm,
untouched and not
mm,
attached to anything. So that's how
mm.
this question came up. And now I'm thinking that who is telling all this?
Correct.
That is Atma.
Correct.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
very nice.
See, the one who's speaking, the one who's listening. Shrunvanna shrunoti. Hearing, I'm not hearing. Imagine the sun, that example of that sun illumining everything is unaffected. That aspect of us within, and even I was just reading one of Gurudev's quotes. He says, all this life, this manifest world, life and death, joy and sorrow, success and failure, all this is just a minuscule part. What you are is big,
Yeah,
is
it's
big.
actually
You're that
it
pure
just
eternal self.
yeah, it just makes sense. Just you touching, that means we are making ourselves duality. Like
Mm,
I, who am I? Like,
mm,
I am. That's it. There
that's
is
it.
nothing else.
I am.
Uh, yeah. So there
Correct.
is I am. Now actually it just dawned on me when you're trying to explain it.
Mm,
Why are we are trying to touch it? Oh, we go there, not there, and all that.
mm,
We are that.
mm.
You are that. So
Correct.
there is no question about whether you're touching it or not touching it. You are
Mm,
that.
mm,
So in that sense, when you're in meditation, you are that. That's how it is. But then the more we develop this sadhana and all these things, we hopefully will be fully realized.
mm.
But then when we keep saying that, oh, should we go on, we are in that moment, not in that moment, and all that is not there at all. I mean, all
Not
this,
required.
like,
You don't need to analyze. Very right.
analyze it. And he's doing, like the way you are saying is doing, right? Now
Mm.
this comes like you said, Shinvan,
Na
so
shrunoti. Mm,
yeah. So that means it is making us to do all these things. So then that's what I am. There is
mm.
no other question here. If we keep asking ourselves, then that's only one.
Yeah, very true.
Actually,
And
everything
then,
is objectifying, no? We are objectifying everything. But Gurudev gives very good, very nice example. Sun is out, but when the window is closed, you will not see the sun. So you have to open the window to see the sun.
Mm.
And the thing that I am Atma, when we do this, when we feel that in deep meditation we went somewhere and touched Atma and came back because we experienced that joy, that Sat Chitta Anandam. That is the explanation of Ananda, of Atma according to Shastra. That Atma is Sat Chitta Anandam. And so when you come back, when you emerge from your meditation, you are in that state, which means you are that. You have that I am Atma. That thing has happened to you, even if it is for a fraction of a second, isn't it?
See,
So
well,
that's
that
how
is
we
true.
feel this.
Yeah. But here, if you see, he says there's something very beautiful that came up. I think, yeah, uh, Atma obtaining in the body in all states is not affected. Just like how space is not affected by what happens within the space, within space. So whether the mind is pleased or displeased, has a longing or aversion, is angry or frustrated, the one who obtains in all these states, though never away from them, remains unaffected. There is no necessity for the mind to be quiet or for thoughts to be dismissed, for Atma to reveal itself. I think this is the most profound thing here. It obtains in all states and at the same time is not affected at all. You may have any thought, it makes no difference to Atma. Therefore, no matter what the Upadhi is undergoing, I am not affected. So, of course, meditation is a form. What is the dhyana required for? Dhyana is required for getting that antakarna naischalya, that stillness of the mind, where in that lake of your mind, where the thoughts are constantly rising and falling, when you still that mind, then you're able to, and with enough antakarna shuddhi, you've cleansed your mind, intellect, buddhi equipment in that stillness with the Shastra Pramana. And when you do this Brahma Bhyasa regularly, then there is that the dawn of knowledge or the recognition happens. Therefore, the dhyana is required for that. But then it is Atma is there whether you're meditating or not meditating.
Yeah.
That aspect of us, which is the sakshi in everything we do. As I'm speaking, as you are listening, whether we're angry, whether we are frustrated, whether we are, so that upadrashta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara, it runs in and through all our states of being, whether it's jagrat swapna sushupti, whether you're meditating, not meditating. So I
Uh,
think staying,
I think Savitaji's question was, what happens? I mean, what do we mm, experience in deep meditation or deep grief or joyful moments? What is that we experience? This was her question. So, and she asked, is that we realize that Atma, uh, I think I'm putting it right. If Savita is there, she can put it herself. But she said, what do we see? I mean, what do we see, or what do we realize or experience that thing? Is that the Atma part or anything
Yeah,
else?
it's a more like, yeah, I mean, are we touching there, meaning we are reaching there or something like that, you know. I know Savita is there, she can ask the question. Yeah.
Jai Gurudev, Mrinalji put it very rightly. This is what I was asking, because in this verse we read no that Atma is not at all affected by any of the upadhis, or like verse number 32. It whatever, no matter what is what the upadhi is undergoing, it is not affected. So the question arises from that statement only, that when there is too much of grief, like it's not the issue of grief also. It is that when any of the feeling is very intense, then it is like 100%. And it is same in the deep meditation. When thoughts are very less, you are focused for a fraction of a second on a particular object or dharana, whatever. At that moment, that uh, at that time, what is it that you feel connected with? Where are you connected with?
But Savitaji, right that moment you come out of that sadness or the happiness, and you are like bliss. Means you are only you
So what is
are
that
there
bliss?
only.
My
Means you
question was
are
that.
there, but you are not experiencing the joy or sadness. You have come out of that state, so you are nothing. Nishkriya, Nishala, whatever that is Atma's attributes only. That
So
I
being
think that
thoughtless,
must be that.
uh, yeah, being thoughtless at that moment, being thoughtless is the only thing that we are experiencing. It means that, no, that but
Maybe
why?
maybe that time drushta and the drushya becomes one, isn't it? We're trying
Mm.
to see something. The scenery and the seer are one.
But the
Become,
experience
yeah.
of like if you say that the anubhuti or the experience which we have in meditation, you can't equate it to, like, I can't express it, because what you feel in meditation, even like, it is like those vibrations coming into your body, and you that oneness you feel, that is undescribable. I think you can't
Bhanudini
describe
has
it.
said in Sahaj that you touch the seat of divinity when you go into that very deep state
Yeah,
of
you
oneness.
feel those vibrations in your body. Yeah, that uh, uh, it can't be
Mm,
explained. Really.
mm. It
Yeah,
is
think here,
they've said no, everything is wave function, everything is vibration. So you have touched that.
no, it's
It's not
here
touch,
no,
but
let
you
me
have.
go with the Shraddha. This is where Shraddha comes in. Of
yeah,
course, in Sahaj, we also say, you know, all this is there for explanation. But let's not get caught up in analyzing what happens in meditation. That you're meditating, that you're having some experience, that you're having this joy is fine. Let it be. Continue meditating. Continue going to the Shastra. There will come a time when the time is right, that for that dawn of knowledge to happen. So this
yeah,
element of
very right.
Shraddha, I suppose, is required. And I think it is good for us to park our intellect aside and not analyze what is
Yeah,
happening. That you're
you know,
enjoying, that you're having a great time, blissful time, which is good, which is what will increase your commitment to continue your practice, isn't it?
You know what happened yesterday after listening to whole session? I was not attending live yesterday. So after listening to whole session, I the moment the um, Gurudev's words came to my mind. मैंने आत्मा देखा वो इतना था तो गुरुजी बोलते आत्मा किसने देखा
Mhm.
isn't it
Yeah.
the same thing is happening here who
Mm,
experienced it
correct.
mhm.
There is only, that's true. It is like we want to validate. Is it is that what I have seen, what I've
But
experienced?
what I
But
didn't get that part. What she asked. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I
she
don't
doesn't
speak
understand.
Indian.
Can
Yeah.
you just repeat what you said, Sarlaji, in
Sorry.
yeah
English?
yeah uh, Actually, once Gurudev said, a man came to me and he said, I have seen the Atma. It is 3 inches red and what and all. So Gurudev asked, who saw that? So that was the answer to him. How you
Right.
can see the Atma like this and that? You cannot give the attributes. No.
That's an
So who was
imagination.
seeing
Yeah.
that? That is you.
Mm.
And Gurudev
Yeah.
always said, those who knows will not answer, and those
Yeah.
means it is
Exactly.
an unending process.
Yeah. One of those things, like
So none of us know it. We
whenever
can't
we put
say.
this, Atma is not an object.
Correct.
So whenever we cannot put a word, a finger on it and say, I, I mean, it's just one of those realization, like it will come to you, and that's where this Vikshepa and Avarana, that those things are what's causing this. So how we have to focus on what is that Avarana, that what is that
Mm.
thing that we need to remove, and that's the only thing that that is between the Atma and this body that we have, and mind and senses, whatnot. So if we can clear that part of it, that is where that um, all the other things that you're doing, that that's I am, that's all we can say. If we say this part of the body, then we are not going to be we are always that duality. That's how it is going to be.
Yeah.
So anyway, the last the verse will tell us what the difference is between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So
This
we'll
last verse
clearly
we'll do
understand.
tomorrow. This
Yeah.
last verse sums up the entire vision that was unfolded by this chapter. So it's like the culmination and summary of the whole chapter. So we'll do this verse tomorrow. We'll start
Jnana
before tomorrow.
Chakshusha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just chant this
Okay.
verse and we'll. Sumaji, can I request you to share Brahmajnana Valimala after we finish this?
Yeah.
क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्. Those who in this manner know the distinction between the kshetra and the kshetrajna through the eye of wisdom and know the freedom from prakriti, the cause of the beings, they go to the ultimate end. ॐ लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. ॐ तत्सत् श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु.
असङ्गोऽहम् 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 पुनः पुनः सच्चिदानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तोऽहम् निराकारोऽहमव्ययः भूमानन्दस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्योऽहम् निरवध्योऽहम् निराकारोऽहमच्युतः परमानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः शुद्धचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् आत्मा रामोऽहमेव च अखण्डानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रत्यक्षचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् शान्तोऽहं प्रकृतेः परः शाश्वतानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तत्त्वातीतपरात्माहम् मध्यातीतः परशिवः मायातीतपरञ्ज्योतिः अहमेवाहमव्ययः नानारूपव्यतीतोऽहम् चिदाकारोऽहमच्युतः सुखरूपस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः माया तत्कार्यदेहादि मम नास्त्येव सर्वदा स्वप्रकाशैकरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः गुणत्रयव्यतीतोऽहम् ब्रह्मादीनां च साक्ष्यहम् अनन्तानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः अन्तर्ज्योतिस्वरूपोऽहम् कूटस्थः सर्वगोऽस्म्यहम् सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः द्वन्द्वादिसाक्षिरूपोऽहम् अचलोऽहं सनातनः सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रज्ञानघन एवाहम् विज्ञानघन एव च अकर्ताहम् अभोक्ताहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः निराधारस्वरूपोऽहम् सर्वाधारोऽहमेव च आप्तकामस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तापत्रयविनिर्मुक्तः देहत्रयविलक्षणः अवस्थात्रयसाक्ष्यस्मि अहमेवाहमव्ययः दृग्दृश्यौ द्वौ पदार्थौ स्तः परस्परविलक्षणौ दृग्ब्रह्मदृश्यं मायेति सर्ववेदान्तडिण्डिमः अहं साक्षीति यो विद्यात् विविच्यैवं पुनः पुनः स एव मुक्तः स विद्वान् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः घटकुड्यादिकं सर्वम् मृत्तिकामात्रमेव च तद्वद्ब्रह्म जगत्सर्वम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः ब्रह्म सत्यं जगन्मिथ्या जीवो ब्रह्मैव नापरः अनेन वेद्यं सच्छास्त्रम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः अन्तर्ज्योति बहिर्ज्योतिः प्रत्यग्ज्योतिः परात्परः ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम् ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम्
There are 3 locations that are actually